Meanwhile, the cameraman is just chilling, by the way. He does not care. And he says, I shit you not, I'm gonna hurt your son at SummerSlam. But right now, I'm here to please you. What the was wrong with these people?
Apparently, this was a thing. This was a thing. You got Eric Bischoff pulling up to the good old home of Linda McMahon to attempt to seduce her while feuding with her son. Hey, what's happening, peoples? It's your boy Blaze here, back to you with another one here for Venomous Reactions, and today we got a video here from Wrestling Gifts. The WWE in 2003 was unhinged. And you know what? That title, that could be more further from the truth, because there was some questionable angles that were on television that just leave you thinking like, what the hell am I watching? Like, who wrote this? Who produced this? But then again, everything was run by Vince McMahon. And if Vince McMahon approved it, it was going on the screen. Regardless of the fact. Like I said, 2003, we had some iconic moments, but there was some moments there that just leave you questioning, like, they should have just left this in the vault. Like, seriously. But then again, it's from the mind of Vince McMahon, so should I expect anything less? No. So we're gonna see what Wrestling Gifts is talking about with this one. Should be entertaining as always, so without further ado, let's get into it. Yes, sir.
I really hope we don't get age restricted for this one.
Oh, damn.
2003 is one of the most nostalgic years in my life, to be honest. From being a little kid and watching the first Spider-Man 100 times on DVD to X-Men 2 dropping, my boy Fifth blowing up, 2003 was an amazing time. And when it comes to wrestling, thinking of 2003, it almost makes me tear up. I love 2003 WWE. Maybe it's the thousands of hours I spent playing Here Comes the Pain growing up with my older cousins, a game that perfectly captures the entire year. Man. Or maybe it's because it's the first year as a kid I remember watching wrestling and seeing wrestling on TV. Whatever it is, 2003 will always have a special place in my heart. Thugonomics Cena, Angle and Lesnar dropping classic after classic, Hollywood Rock, Kane going demon mode, and so much more. But the truth is, this company was batshit insane in 2003. Everyone remembers 03 for the amazing highs, but 03 has some of the wildest, weirdest, just insane moments and storylines you can possibly imagine, and it popped off right as the year started. One of the major storylines on SmackDown going into 03 was Tori Wilson's father marrying Dawn Marie, and it went down on the very first episode of SmackDown of the year, and you're probably...
Who could forget that moment? Who could forget that angle? You got Tori Wilson's dad marrying Dawn Marie on SmackDown. Only for him to have the honeymoon and pretty much expire. This is only from Vince McMahon's mindset that it will be allowed on television. That's the only logical explanation I could come up with, because ain't no way in hell Triple H would approve something like this in today's WWE product.
Like Pav, that's normal. We've had so many weddings in wrestling. It's tradition. They got married in their underwear. Is that normal too? And just when things couldn't get weirder, the next week we found out that the lovely just married couple didn't even last a week. Why? Why you may ask? Did they get a divorce that fast? No. Apparently Dawn Marie made Al Wilson f her so much on their honeymoon that he died. Cause that's normal, right? Yeah, Dawn Marie literally got a body to open up 03 SmackDown. SmackDown at this time was just hilarious. Everyone remembers Angle, Cena, Taker, Lesnar doing their thing, but then it's like they have so many wrestlers on the roster where it's like, you are so lucky to be employed. Nathan Jones, Mark Jindrak, Johnny Stamboli, they had The Undertaker beefing the FBI. The full-blooded Italians. But meanwhile on Spike TV over on Monday Night Raw, we were getting this. I don't see a problem. The build for Triple H and Scott Steiner ends up being something straight out of Magic Mike, and they proceed to have an absolutely
not Magic Mike. But low-key, it did though. Because, man, they had a pose down like, oh, let's have a pose down. I can do anything better than you. Scott Steiner? Right. Who could have came up with that idea? I wonder. But you ain't lying, man. That match at Royal Rumble 2003, easily forgettable because it was that horrible.
Horrible match at the Rumble. Like, we are talking about the worst world title match in history level bad. On the way to WrestleMania, they had Triple H become racist for a month because that's storytelling, pal. And Triple H won at Mania. Because America. But just to play both sides, we gotta give the company some credit. They did their best to hold it down for African Americans post the WrestleMania 19 debacle. Because this was also the year that they had Rodney Mack and Teddy Long hold the White Boy Challenge. Yeah, years before one-on-one with The Undertaker player, it was one-on-one with Rodney Mack, white boy. Rodney Mack and Teddy Long would come out every week and claim that there wasn't a white boy in the world, let alone the roster, that could challenge Mack. Every week, Mack would destroy a white boy. Chris Nowinski, no-name local jobber, Bubba Ray Dudley, no white boy was safe.
None whatsoever. Who could forget that? The weekly beatdown of the local white competitors. With Theodore Long back in the Mac. Yo, who remembers that? Because I sure do. Every night on Raw. That was hilarious.
Until Goldberg pulled up. Goldberg pulled up and speared this man during his own Is that not a health hazard? And Mac had to roll down the ramp like he was on fire. And after just 5 weeks, the White Boy Challenge was sadly over.
He climbs up on the second rope and he yells, "White boy!"
Speaking of white boys, remember how when the year started, Scott Steiner was challenging for the world title? Well, those days were over, thankfully, because he moved on to bigger and better things, such as beating up Test and taking his girl, and getting lap dances on the Raw stage. Honestly, that's a glow up to me.
That's Big Papa Pump for you.
was the first ever brand exclusive pay-per-view during the brand split era. It had a Hell in a Cell match as the main event, Goldberg was wrestling, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair for the first time ever. They really wanted the first show to be...
And those stages back then were iconic because they stood out. Unlike the stages we see in today's WWE product. But look at this. Like this pretty much will get you hyped for a pay-per-view. Seeing the whole stage setup and everything before the show starts. You love to see it. Wonderful time to be alive for wrestling. I'm telling you.
Success so they could get tons of buys. Do you want to know what else they added on the show to try to get some buys? Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Eric Bischoff in the Redneck Triathlon. How do I even explain what a Redneck Triathlon is?
You
300,000 people bought Bad Blood and had to watch Eric Bischoff and Austin complete through a bunch of challenges. And since it's 03, they had the most brain rot challenges straight from Vince McMahon's mind you could possibly imagine. Challenge number 1, a burping contest. Challenge number 2, a pie. I don't even think I can show this. Just imagine Mae Young and Eric Bischoff. You know what?
Yeah,
don't imagine.
Don't need to go into it.
Pig pen fun. Yo, those poor piggies, bro. Anyway, meanwhile on SmackDown, Vince and Hogan were tweaking. Is anyone surprised? Out here signing contracts in blood. Rowdy Piper pulled up to the WrestleMania match to interfere while he was 8 months pregnant. That was nice. And of course, after WrestleMania, we got Mr. America running wild. Yo, I wonder how Tori Wilson is doing after the death of her father.
Yeah, pretty much.
In 03, Raw was definitely a little more tame. It was hard to be too raunchy when Triple H, without a beard, looking absolutely disgusting, was cutting his...
Yeah, no beard Triple H was a menace. And this was during the time of the Reign of Terror because he had Raw in his grasp, especially with the World Heavyweight title around his waist. And it was just all bad because if he wasn't world champion, yeah, Raw would be held hostage until he was champion again. And even then, the Reign of Terror has ceased to pretty much ceased to desist, if that makes any sense.
I am the diamond of this industry promos every week. Hard to be raunchy when he's too busy being Goldberg, yada yada yada. But the MVP of Raw in 03, of course, was Kane. Kane took his mask off and became the second coming of the devil. Tombstoning Linda, setting JR on fire, electrocuting Shane's testes. Yes, you heard that right. Surviving car crashes, surviving this. Kane was that guy. It's interesting because Linda getting tombstoned by Kane is what set Kane off. It's what gave him that legendary entrance. It's what made everyone think he was a D1 Savage. It really started his arc. The funny thing is, that's not even the worst thing to happen to Linda McMahon in 2003. After getting tombstoned by Kane, barely, Linda McMahon went home to recover in kayfabe, and everyone assumed that after getting tombstoned, that thankfully we weren't going to see her on TV for a long, long time, because Linda McMahon is not a real person. I need you guys to know that. But Vince had other plans for his wife. They ran an angle before SummerSlam 03 where Linda was doing a live interview via satellite with JR and King on Monday Night Raw, where they were checking in on her. And during the interview, she got up and said, "Oh, JR, I'm sorry, but there's someone at the door." It ends up being Eric Bischoff, the general manager of Raw, who was supposed to take on her son Shane in a match at SummerSlam 03 just 6 days away. This man pulled up to Linda's house, starts cornering her. Meanwhile, the cameraman is just chilling, by the way. He does not care. And he says, I shit you not, I'm gonna hurt your son at SummerSlam. But right now, I'm here to please you. What the f was wrong with these people?
Apparently, this was a thing. This was a thing. You got Eric Bischoff pulling up to the good old home of Linda McMahon to attempt to seduce her while feuding with her son. Oh, that's WWE writing in 2003 for you. I mean, apparently this became a thing. And I guess it was for them to like heighten the whole feud between Eric Bischoff and Shane McMahon at SummerSlam, but yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. It was kind of cringe. Definitely cringe.
Well, Eazy-E starts tweaking. Linda tries calling for security. No one's there. Just the cameraman who clearly does not care. And just adds the drama. During this whole thing going on, they cut to commercial. You know what? Respect. Freddy vs. Jason in theaters Friday. And now, back to Eric Bischoff catching a case. We come back and Eric is once again, I repeat, tweaking. Telling her to shush, calling her a big-breasted beauty, and he even says don't fight it. Eric Bischoff is like an FBI wiretap's best friend. And ladies and gentlemen, you already know what the hell they were implying was going down, and that's exactly what went down in kayfabe. Raw goes off the air in the summer of 03 with SummerSlam just 6 days away. Hey, should we promote the Elimination Chamber for SummerSlam? No, let's get Eric to... No wonder ratings were crashing. Nah, this company in 03 was just on something, because on SmackDown, it was arguably worse. Vince was losing his mind, and I mean that. Whatever they say Vince did or is accused of.
I told you, I knew your dad for a long time. He did that shit.
Imagine turning SmackDown on and all you see is Vince McMahon beating up a one-legged 20-year-old. That sounds like a Family Guy skit. And I don't just mean beating up fam. He ripped his prosthesis off and humiliated him week in and week out. Mind you, his...
Yep. Apparently this was a thing on SmackDown as well. And Zach Gowen, yeah, that's one way of getting noticed in the business. Hey, you get humiliated by the boss. How do you get your foot in the door? Pretty much just ask Zach Gowen. Because, man, Vince did a number on that kid, man. And poor Zach Gowen, he went through hell dealing with Vince McMahon and his bullshit. I'm telling you.
His wife was catching it over on Raw. It doesn't matter. Vince doesn't care. He was living lavish on SmackDown. He just wanted to cheat on her and beat up a one-legged man. Can a man not spend his Thursdays doing that? Vince in 03 lost his mind. Like we always say, oh, he needs to be stopped, blah, blah, this and that. No, Vince in 03 needed to be shot. He was out here booking matches such as Stephanie versus Brock Lesnar, because why not? His promos made no sense whatsoever. What does that even mean?
Terrorists are gonna burn down the Undertaker's house.
Huh?
Zach Gowen continued to catch it. One time he caught it so bad that there was more blood on the screen than most slasher movies. He was so jacked, so juiced up, and just off the rails. He booked a pay-per-view with this as the co-main event.
Yep. Apparently that was a thing too. First ever father versus daughter match. At No Mercy. Oh my God. Only from Vince McMahon's insane mind did this ever come to light? And apparently, we all had to bear witness to it. And I believe this was before, in real life, she got married to Triple H. So apparently, this was basically her punishment on the low for marrying a wrestler in real life. That's insane to think about. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was the truth.
And by the way, did he put his daughter over in the match? No.
Hell no.
Why would he do that? And just to end the year off right, he was the one who buried The Undertaker and killed the biker gimmick. I still remember one of my earliest memories of watching wrestling was finding out that SmackDown aired at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. I was 5 years old, and I turned on SmackDown. I'm all excited, and all I see is this. Kurt Angle dressed up as John Cena, and then a little person comes out dressed up as Kurt Angle, and then the little person jokingly makes Kurt Angle tap. And then the little person beat up my favorite wrestler. 03 was just a wild time, man. You had Cena tweaking, you had Angle and Lesnar doing this for some reason off camera. What a year. 03 to me is such a fascinating but interesting year. I will always love 03, don't get me wrong. It's so nostalgic even though I was like 5, but it's just wild. People remember like, oh, SmackDown was so lit, Angle and Lesnar were tearing it up, the work rate, Hollywood Rock, Cena coming out of his show, and then it's like,
his children are gonna be kidnapped.
What a year. On one hand, you had The Rock officially go to Hollywood in April. Austin retired. HBK worked the entire year after missing 4 years and being told that he was never going to wrestle again.
Ain't that the truth, man? Shawn came back and proved to everyone that he still got it, and he pretty much worked the whole 2003. Like, pretty much nonstop. Just to show, like, you know what? Hey, despite me going out with a broken back 4 years ago, I can still go. I can still go.
John Cena had a giant glow up from January to July. They make it seem like, oh, once he became the rapper, it was all good. Nah, he grinded his way up. He started out 03 teaming with Bull Buchanan. First of all, what the hell is a Bull Buchanan? Sounds like a gas station pill. But he started with Bull and came out to generic music, and then by July, he had a world title match under his belt, and he was even starting to get cheered. Angle and Lesnar putting on bangers, Rey Mysterio in the Cruiserweight division, Eddie Guerrero, and so much more. But on the other hand, it's like triple fraud buried the entire Raw roster. Lesnar did leave the company just 3 months after this. Undertaker took on the Big Show and A-Train at WrestleMania. They couldn't have found anyone else at all, like anyone. Everything was changing, everything was chaos, the writers were on one, but like I said, I love the year. Did it age the best? Hell no, it got trashy, way too trashy, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. I love the aesthetic, I love the music, the promo videos, there was just something in the air that makes it so damn nostalgic for me. What a time it was to be alive. This is definitely, though, one of those years where, like, if you're older, you probably hate it. If you're younger, you're probably like, why did you guys watch this stuff? But if you're around my age and grew up on YouTube watching all these clips, growing up playing Here Comes the Pain, you bought the DVDs from this era, you're always gonna love it. But just remember, the next time you hear about 03 SmackDown, 03 Raw, or 03 Wrestling in general, just remember, they lost their damn mind train this year. Yeah, no wonder we grew up to be screw-ups. This is what we were raised on.
Yo, they did though, on the low, man. They did pretty much lose their damn minds. But man, yo, I was heavy into watching the product during 2003, and some of those moments, like I said, they are iconic. And then there was some that was like, okay, why is this happening? Like, why would Vince McMahon approve this to be put on television? Anything to get ratings and get buys for, back then that was called the pay-per-views. But some of the stuff should have been left in the vault and never to be released ever again. Ever again. But man, 2003, during the time of WWE, was a perfect time to be watching wrestling, because Kane taking off the mask and Big Show and Brock Lesnar, that iconic superplex off the top rope, pretty much obliterated the ring. And let's see what else I can say is iconic. You know, we got to witness The Rock and Stone Cold go at it one more time before Stone Cold had to hang the boots up due to ongoing ongoing injuries in his neck. What a time to be alive, and what a time to be, I would say, be insane out for the questionable storylines and promos. But I want to know, out of everything that happened in 2003 in WWE, what was the most craziest to you? You already know what to do, man. Let the comment section have it. And as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one. And don't forget to tell your peoples across the globe, so kick it with your boy. Just want to solid time. And please follow your boy on social media right over yonder. And this is your boy Blaze saying, check the deuce, and I will see y'all in the next video. And I am out.